I'd like to use the analogy of speed limits to help us understand how we might manage our response to COVID-19. Speed limits are an acknowledgement that life is about a balance between risk and opportunity. And indeed, quality of life is also related to a balance between risk and opportunity. So I want to use the concepts of quality of life, risk and opportunity, and speed limits to help us understand how we might manage COVID-19. At some places, we have 40 km/h speed limits, and in other places, we have 110 km/h speed limits. And these limits correspond to the local road conditions. Although every road death is a tragedy, we understand the value of being able to travel on the roads. Thus, we accept the risk of road deaths. We accept the fact that people will die on the roads each year, over 1,000 deaths per year across Australia, even though we know that if we reduced speed limits or took cars off the road, then there would be less deaths. Our attitude to speed limits acknowledges that a balance must be struck between risk and opportunity in everyday life. By analogy, we can acknowledge that a balance must be struck between risk and opportunity in the face of COVID-19. Taking cars off the road is analogous to complete lockdown. But different speed limits for different road conditions is analogous to different constraints on behaviour in different populations of Australians. Vulnerable populations and those interacting with them, say in aged care facilities, should be subject to more constraints on behaviour, and less vulnerable populations should be subject to less constraints on behaviour. And temporary constraints on behaviour, for example quarantine, should be imposed just as temporary speed limits are imposed around roadworks. The Australian community lives with the balance of risk and opportunity on the roads and can also live with the balance of risk and opportunity in the face of COVID-19. Now, this is not to belittle the complexity and seriousness of the situation we face. These are hard decisions, and getting the balance right will be difficult. But ultimately, there is a balance to be struck between risk and opportunity. And this is importantly related to quality of life. We cannot close down society indefinitely in the face of COVID-19, so we must strike a balance using the best understanding we have of COVID-19 to get the balance right.